On today's Mr. Nashville Talks, the funniest man in America, James Gregory. As one biographer put it, for decades, the unforgettable caricature of veteran comedian James Gregory has stood grinning, his shirt untucked, his arms outstretched, a carefree welcome to a down-home, hilarious comedy experience.
If you have a membership at the gymnasium, in layman's terms, here's the meaning of that. That means you went to a businessman in your community and you said to him, look, if I give you part of my hard-earned money, will you let me come in here every day after work and lift something heavy? and the guy goes, well, yeah. You got any stupid friends you can bring with you?
You've seen him on TV, you've heard him on radio stations like Rick and Bubba, John Boy and Billy, and Bob and Tom, even the world-renowned Grand Ole Opry. And today we have him with us, Mr. James Gregory. Well, I'm very excited about today's show because I am with the funniest man alive, Mr. James Gregory.
I've got to interrupt you there.
Okay.
It's not the funniest man alive, it's the funniest man in America.
Oh, okay.
You never can tell. There might be a Chinese comedian funnier than me.
And we won't know.
Somewhere, I don't know.
Yeah, because we don't speak Chinese. We'll never know.
Matter of fact, I used to make a joke about this because people would say, the funniest man in America, and I'll go, well, it's not as big a deal as you think it is, because when I started doing this, America was just 13 states. Because I've been doing this so long.
Well, you know, the first time I saw you, I was a kid, and you were on the Dolly Parton show. About 87, maybe?
No, I
88?
think that was. You're right, it was 1987.
Yeah.
To this day, that is the only network television show I've ever been on.
Isn't that wild? Because
yeah,
so many people love you, and so many people know who you are, and everybody gets excited. You have one of the largest celebrities, huge fans of yours. I know that, like, when you perform here at Zany's in Nashville, you've had George Jones come out, haven't you? Brad Paisley.
George Jones, God bless him. I've knew George and Nancy for years, I've known Kenny Chesney for a lot of years.
Yeah.
He used to come to my show every chance he gets when he's not working. But there's a lot of people over the years that would come by and hang out in the green room, everybody from Brad Paisley to Bobby Bear and Bill Anderson and Kenny Chesney. And
I've seen you on the Country Family reunions on some of those. You were great on those.
Show, I really did.
And yeah, I mean, you know,
I'll tell you about that. Talk about being on the Dolly Parton show. You know, now the other shows that, see, every comedian can't be on every TV show. We all want to be on television.
Right.
But, you know, everybody can't be on there.
Exactly,
you know,
yeah.
And I auditioned for a lot of years, the first 10 years I was in this business. I made a lot of trips to California, auditioning, trying to get on the Tonight Show, trying to get on the David Letterman show, you know. And I always got rejected to that, which is okay. But here's what happened on the Dolly Parton show. That's 1987. One of the writers, okay, do you know who the comedian Brett Butler is?
Yes, love her, yeah.
Remember, she was on that sitcom for a while.
Yeah, Grace Under Fire.
Grace Under Fire. Mm-hmm. Well, I knew Brett before anybody even knew who she was, before she had been on TV.
Yes, yeah.
Well, she was hired as one of the writers
yes,
for the Dolly Parton show.
Right.
And Brett Butler told the producer of the Dolly Parton show, said, this is who you need to have on the show. So actually it was Brett Butler that got me on the Dolly Parton show.
Isn't that great?
So
well,
I've always appreciated that.
How was Dolly when you worked with her?
Oh, wonderful. And I've met Dolly many times since then.
Yeah, she's wonderful to work with.
Venues, you know, but
sweetest lady to work with.
She's a wonderful, wonderful lady. I love Dolly Parton.
So have you opened a lot for a lot of the country music stars?
Not a lot.
Yeah.
Because number one is, I can make more money if I do the James Gregory show.
Right.
Than I can work for them. But I've had the chance over the years to work with them. I have worked with Dolly Parton. I did a show with George Jones. I've worked with Kenny Chesney one time. We did a big show one time, a Christmas Eve show at the Bridgestone Arena.
Oh, wow, yeah.
That was a big crowd. I worked with Reba McEntire.
She's sweet too. Yeah.
And I used to, back in the late 80s, remember when in the mid to late 80s, in the early 90s, the biggest country music artist at that time was Randy Travis.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
He kind of rejuvenated the traditional country music.
Yes.
I mean, he really kicked it off, you know.
That's what I was telling my son the other night. We
Absolutely.
had that discussion.
Everybody can really, they ought to really appreciate Randy Travis.
Yeah, I agree.
He got us back to the traditional country music.
Yeah. You know? That's what I like the best.
So for some reason, he was a big fan of mine. And he and his manager, remember Leo?
Yeah.
Got a hold of the people who were managing me and wanted to know if I would do some shows with him. So I went to Vegas and did the big casino shows on that for him. That was in Las Vegas and then Reno, Nevada.
Oh, wow.
But what I really enjoyed, we did a tour in the New England area. Theaters in the round. You know what that means?
Oh yeah, where you're in the middle of the.
Yeah, see a lot. And in the New England area, they're very popular. The audience is it's like a circle.
Yes. Yeah.
And the stage is in the center.
Yes.
And depending on where you are, what venue you're at, but in some of those, the stage revolves.
Yeah.
Have you been there?
Yeah, I've been to those, yeah.
But it revolves so slowly. I mean, the audience is not aware of the fact that
you're moving around, yeah.
So you start, and the audience is around you. And the whole show with me and the band and with the Randy was like a 2-hour show. Well, in that 2 hours, all right, the stage had twisted around completely, so slow. So the people who was in the back, now they're in the front. Yeah. So it was a great opportunity, and it was a great audience. You'd be surprised how many people, percentage-wise, in that part of the United States that really loves country music. Oh yeah, and it's the traditional that they love. Really, I mean, we did shows in Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Hyannisport. Yeah. You know, we did a show there. And so it was, I just loved it. Yeah, I bet so. I mean, you know, traveling that part of the country, and you know, you're from Georgia, correct? Right. Still live there. You still live there? Yeah. It was a little town outside of Atlanta, or well, you were born? I was raised in a town called Lithonia. Lithonia, okay. Which is about 20 miles east of the perimeter. Yes. Okay. But I live now northwest of the perimeter in a little town called Woodstock. It's all a suburb of Atlanta, though. Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. Well, one thing in doing my research on you that I thought was so interesting was that you were a postal worker. You worked for the post office, and also the Department of Defense. Well, yeah, that was civil. I call that civil service. I transferred from the postal service to the Defense Department. Yeah. See, I didn't start doing my career as far as show business is concerned. I got a late start. Yeah. You know, I was 35. Yeah. When I got into the entertainment business. So I had a lot of jobs before I got to be 35. I had 10 years before I got into this business. I was in the sales business. You know? Oh, wow. So, well, commission only sales. Yeah. You know. That's probably why you're such a great communicator. Well, the advantage I had, I think, the disadvantage is, I wish I could have started in this business when I was in my 19 or 20 or 25 years old. Most people in this business, especially the comedy business, started very young. Yeah. So I wish that had happened to me. However, on the other hand, there's some advantages not starting so early. Yes. Yeah. Because when I started, I was a grown man, so to speak, and I think I had a little bit more common sense than a 19-year-old would have. Going through the real world for a while before I got into this business has been a big advantage to me. Yeah, I think so too, because so much of your act is just life experience, things that we all know about or have experienced ourselves. So. The humor is based on common sense, or like you just said, are the experiences I've gone through. Yeah, and one thing about you that kind of sets you apart
especially now, maybe not so much in the days you started, is you're a pretty clean comic.
Yeah, as clean as I possibly can.
Yeah.
I didn't start out that way. Of course, I've never had an X-rated show.
Right, right.
You know, but in my early career, I would use what I call some Baptist language, you know. Hell this, a damn this, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I got rid of that too. To me, it was more of a business decision more than anything else. I mean,
yeah.
When my nephew was 3 years old, he and I had a supermarket on a Sunday afternoon. And in the store that day was the biggest woman I'd ever seen in my life. It might have been 500 or 600 pounds, I don't know. I do know that it looked like a crowd. And she was wearing these tight polyester pants. You know, little irrigation ditches and all. Just, wearing a real tight sweater, just rolls of fat. Might have been food in there, I don't know. And she was wearing a beeper. The minute my nephew saw her, he said, "Look at that fat woman." I said, "Shut up." He said, "Boy, she's fat." I said, "Please shut up." You know? Well, thank goodness the lady disappeared up the next aisle. But a few moments later, he and I started up that aisle. And at that split second, her beeper went off. And my nephew said, "Look out, Uncle James, she's backing up."
And if you can do it, though, the thing about it, if you can be a clean comic, it is much harder.
It makes you work harder.
Yeah, because it's so easy to go blue because the reaction.
It's hard to do clean humor.
Yeah.
And do a cheap joke or cheap routine.
Yes,
it's impossible.
Right.
Now you can do it and make it laugh the cheap fashion if you use the real bad language.
Yeah.
Because people are laughing at the word instead of the content.
Exactly.
And I just found out that people leave feeling better if it's a clean show.
I think you're right, yeah.
I also think they will give you more customers.
Yes.
And like if you go see a show this weekend, say Mr. and Mrs. Jones comes to see my show, and they had a great time, then I'll leave town. I'm gonna come back in about 6 months.
Yeah.
Well, those people, they will tell their neighbors or their co-workers or they'll tell their boss and his wife, "Oh gosh, he's got so fun. You gotta go see this. You gotta go see that." So. And
you've done churches.
Oh yeah, I've done a few of those.
Yeah.
I sure have.
And so that, I mean, it opens up a large audience. I interviewed George Wallace, and he even said he's done churches, you know,
I love George Wallace.
Yeah, and he's got a clean show. Yeah, he's
really from Georgia too.
Yeah, he loved. Yeah, you talked about that and how much he loved Georgia and everything. Now, who are some of the peers you started out with that you can? I mean, you mentioned Brett. Is there some of the peers you started out with that are kind of like you that blew up, or did most of them kind of fall?
When you say, I don't know how you define peers.
Well,
now when I started, it takes a while to really get on the road.
Yeah.
You don't just say, you can't make a decision one day, say, I'm going to be a comedian, and you get a paycheck next week.
Right. Yeah.
You have those, what we call the starving years.
Yeah, oh yeah.
See, I started my career doing open mic night, amateur night.
Yeah.
And then you become the MC. Where you do 10 or 15 minutes and you introduce the other show.
Yeah.
The other act, you know. But here's what's interesting. No matter what comedian you were interviewing right now, if I was not sitting here now, and you were interviewing Jerry Seinfeld, or Jay Leno, or Chris Rock, or Eddie Murphy, and if you asked them, how did you get started? All of them would say, amateur night.
Yeah, exactly.
To be a comedian, see?
Yeah.
There's no certificate, there's no diploma.
Yeah.
You know, so you actually have to prove your qualifications.
Yes.
You have to prove it by being on stage.
Right.
You have to show people, you know.
And get that reaction.
So that's why it takes so long sometimes to get into the business and stay in the business.
Yes, yeah.
I did 2 weeks once with, not consecutive weeks, with Jay Leno. I worked with Jay Leno when he was still working at the clubs.
Yeah.
You know, I met Jerry Seinfeld. I I remember Tim Allen on
Yeah.
the Movement?
Yeah.
I knew Tim Allen when he was what we call a feature act. He was even the headliner.
Wow.
And he was making about $600 a week.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
And see, I'm going to tell you something. I think you are so much funnier than both of those guys.
Oh, I appreciate you saying that. I think there's different styles of comedy.
Oh yeah, I do too. Maybe it's because I'm Southern, and so I relate to a lot of some of it. That you know a little more. But I just remember as a kid. When I saw you on the Dolly show as a kid, you stuck in my head. There's been a few comics that did that. Because I'll be honest with you, I didn't understand a lot of stand-up for years as a kid. I always thought, not so funny, you know, unless it was, you know, that cheap humor that went blue, you know, because you're a kid, it shocks you. But I remember you, and I remember the first time I saw Roseanne on television on The Tonight Show.
Right.
And I said, she's funny. And then I bet she'll be a big star. And then next thing you know, she had a TV show. And I said, oh, that's that lady from The Tonight Show. And so, but, you know, and same thing with Brett Butler, you know, when I saw her. But with you, everyone kind of says this that I talk to, and even when I was preparing for this interview, they said, you know, Jerry Clower was really a big star, you know, and then they said, then James Gregory was such a big star, and way before, and this isn't a comparison.
I wouldn't categorize myself as a big star. I'm just I'm a working comedian is what I am.
Yeah, but I mean, you all were kind of the pioneers of that movement that brought Jeff Foxworthy and Larry the Cable Guy.
People have said that.
Because there's kind of a stigma against Southern comics a little bit, from what I understand.
Well, it is. Well, some of the guys that are so-called Southern comedians, they deserve the criticism they get.
Yeah.
Because that's all they do. They do just. That's always a joke about Southerners.
Right.
You know? But here's what happens. There's something interesting about the media.
Yes.
Whether it be the newsprint or radio. I'll give you an example. Right? If a comedian is born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, born and raised, the minute he starts talking, you know that he's from Brooklyn.
Exactly, yeah.
You know he's from Brooklyn. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And all these guys, they toured around the country. They would do shows in the Carolinas and Alabama and Louisiana. Because all those comedy clubs was all around the country.
Oh, yeah.
For about 20 years at least. Right? But no one ever referred to those guys as Northern comedians.
Exactly.
Now here's what happened with guys like me. I have a Southern accent.
Right.
So it is the assumption that I do Southern humor.
Right.
And here's what I'll tell anybody, whether you're a fan of mine or not, you can go to any of my DVDs or any of my CDs and listen to those shows.
Right.
Do you know that I have never, ever, ever on stage, I have never used the word South.
Right.
I've never used the word Southern.
Right.
I've never used the word Yankee. I don't make fun of Yankees. I don't do jokes about pickup trucks and rifle racks.
Right.
I don't. Exactly. It's never brought up.
Right. It's just the accent and where you're from.
It's never brought up.
Yeah.
I do no jokes about Southern people.
Right.
I do not make fun about Yankees.
Right.
None.
Yeah.
I don't even do jokes about pickup trucks.
Right.
Okay. But the media, 9 times out of 10, if they were reviewing my show, that's a Southern comedian.
Yeah.
But they never refer to someone else as a Northern comedian.
Exactly. So, you're right,
so
100%.
You know, it's a stereotypical thing.
It is.
It's no big deal now, but I remember years ago that would just irritate me so much. It's like,
Well, it's kind of like with country music. You know, it's like a stigma that country music has too, with network television and things like that. Now it's getting a little broken up.
Yes, it is.
But it's getting a little bit broken up because I don't know that it's not country music necessarily. Does that make sense? It's not what you and I would probably call country music. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I mean, there's room for everybody. But you know, when I say country, I think of George Jones and Randy Travis and Dolly, and well, even Dolly branched out. You know, and you know, but you're right. I think that there's something.
Like Johnny Cash. And Bobby Bear. And,
I love those guys.
And Mel Tillis.
Yeah.
You know, we just lost Merle Haggard. God bless him.
Yeah.
You know? And, so I think what it's because they were so distinctive. You know?
Yes. Yeah. And
here's what it used to. And I hate to sound like used to. I mean, all things are good. All things are good. If you're alive and above ground and still breathing, life is good.
Yes, exactly.
And the country music business is booming. I mean, God bless all those people.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But here's the difference. Used to, if you was in the car listening to country music radio, all right, the guy who was the host, the DJ, you know, he didn't have to introduce every person.
Right.
The minute he started, we knew who that was.
Knew it was individuality.
We just knew who that was.
Yeah.
The first sentence, we knew who that was.
Yeah.
We knew that was Johnny Cash.
Yes. Yeah.
We knew that was Porter Wagoner. We knew that was George Jones.
Yes.
We knew that was Gene Watson.
Yep.
All right. We knew that was Johnny Paycheck. We knew it.
Yes.
And now what happens is they have to make sure that they are announcing who's coming, you know, because some of it sounds like it's like a cookie cutter type.
Yes, everything sounds the same almost. You're exactly right,
but they're still good though.
Oh yeah. It's the trend that everybody just sounds alike. Same thing with pop music too. They all sound alike, and I think that's the thing. We have so many people making decisions that aren't aware of what the people want, but they're thinking mass appeal and things.
Well, evidently though, it's working. I mean.
I mean, exactly. You know, they're making millions, and but you also you've been blessed to play the Opry some. You know, a lot of comedians don't do that anymore.
Well, you know what? I only was on that one time.
Oh, really?
No,
okay.
I would like to do that. I'd love to be invited.
Yeah, but because you were, well, then I caught the time you were on, because I mean you were incredible on there, and you know they used to have a lot of comedians on the Opry,
right.
And you know in the older days you'd have like even people from other genres and Hollywood stars and things, right. And I was there one time. Anna Nicole Smith was there, and got to sit in her lap out there. You know, so I mean that's one of the cool venues people love to play when they come to Nashville. And but who else?
We could talk about one thing about stand-up comedian. See, I'm a big fan of. I wish people would be familiar about the industry that they're in. There's so many comedians out there today. They're very funny, and they're young. You know, I don't mean 20; they're just younger than me. You know, but they really don't know the history about stand-up comedy.
Yeah,
they got some names they don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but if you're in the business, I think you would feel better if you had a sense of industry, sense of industry. In other words, be aware that you are in the comedy industry.
Yes, yes.
You know, a lot of folks today it's just like show up, do a show, hey, I'm a comedian.
Yeah.
No, you're more than that.
Yeah.
You're in the comedy industry.
Yeah.
Going back to when I was a kid growing up, and they had all those great shows on television when I was real young. Remember Red Skelton had Jack Benny had a TV show. And even in the more modern era, well, all the way back to the 70s and 80s, the Bob Newhart show.
Yeah.
There's so many people that really don't realize, they know who those people are. And they think that's because they know them in the sitcom.
Yeah.
They do not know that they were all started as stand-up comedians.
Right.
Now, Bob Newhart was a legendary stand-up comedian.
Yes, yes.
He had the LP albums. You remember? They have CDs now.
I love those LP albums.
And he was so popular. Remember now, without television.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one year he sold more comedy albums than Frank Sinatra sold songs.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Then he got the opportunity to be in a sitcom. Now, when people like Jack Benny and George Burns and people like that, they still say it's comedy clubs then, okay? But it was vaudeville.
Yeah.
Remember?
Right. Yeah.
And doing it stand up way before anybody knew who they were on a national level.
Yeah.
So my theory is all good comedy, even what's called a sitcom today, starts and ends with stand-up comedy.
Yes. Yeah. I agree. Well, who would you say was some of your greatest heroes, or would the people we just mentioned, would they be, or?
That's I never use the word hero. I don't like the word heroes too much. I don't, they're just people that I like and I admire. I don't call them heroes.
Right, right. Why do you think that Nashville is such a big hot spot for comedians? Because we still get, I mean, Zanies, for one, the place you're playing, we still get some of the greatest and largest acts.
It has to do with the fine people who own and operate Zanies. Brian Dorfman, he's in charge. And there's a lot of comedy clubs around the country. It was kind of like a fad. There were so many.
Yeah.
At one time, there's about 400 full-time comedy clubs in the United States.
Yeah.
So people that live and work here in Nashville should be very appreciative of the great club they have.
Yeah, and it's
because a lot of great acts come through Zanies.
Yeah, you're right.
There's no problems on stage.
Yeah.
But when you come to see a comedy show, whether it's a comedy club or somewhere else, and you're laughing.
Yeah.
See, for that period of time, you suspend the other stuff.
Yes, yes, yeah.
It's hard to cry and laugh at the same time.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's how come that's why people go to see a comedy show.
Yeah. Well, you bring a lot of joy to so many people, and I just want to thank you for that because.
I appreciate you having me on today.
Well, I appreciate you doing it. It means a lot.
The folks here in Nashville too.
Thank you. Thank you.
And good seeing you.
Well, God bless you.
Oh, and you too. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed today's show with James Gregory, the funniest man in America. Register to win one of James's CDs at www.mrnashvilletalks.com. And while you're there, check out all our other social media outlets. I want to hear you talk.